everyone. I am Freeholder Leonard Luciano. I'm the Essex County District 4 Freeholder. I am one of 9 freeholders that make up the legislative branch here in Essex County. I just want to introduce the folks that I am joined with here. My colleague, District 5 Freeholder Brendan Gill, who is here with us tonight. Our Essex County Clerk, Chris Durkin, and the Clerk to the Freeholder Board, Deborah Davis Ford. Thank you for being here and joining us. As always, it is my pleasure as a freeholder to recognize and commend deserving citizens who are hard work behind the scenes but produce great results here in Essex County. These are people who oftentimes consider unsung heroes and many times are happy in that position. People like Ms. Jocelyn Gilman and the folks she works with every day in the community chapter executive. She's the community chapter executive at the Northern New Jersey American Red Cross. I am reminded that the Red Cross is one of those organizations that show us true humility and that it is more blessed to give than to receive. Their recipients are those who are the most vulnerable in our communities, those who are in need, those who may lack resources to get on their feet. The American Red Cross is among the first responders when disaster hits locally and abroad. When I first became a freeholder in 2011, I saw their work firsthand as we had what they say, 100-year storm here in New Jersey that went through Essex County. And there were folks from all over my freeholder district that were displaced, and in Essex County, that were displaced, that needed a warm meal, that needed a place to sleep, and that needed somebody just to be there for them while they could get themselves back on their feet. And even though it was one of the toughest times being a freeholder, because it was very hard for me to come up with a solution or a resolution to some of their problems with flooding, I know that those people felt they were in good hands with many of the Red Cross volunteers and the people there in Fairfield. We recognize that familiar logo that is so simple but bold, that Red Cross, and we recognize it to be synonymous as the most trusted resource, a resource that provides refuge, relief, reliability, regardless of who it is in need. I would like to thank you personally, Ms. Gilman, and your staff for the fine work that you do, and we are happy to give you this acknowledgement in turn. We hope that people will become more aware of the work that is being done, and more importantly, that they would get involved by donating their time, talent, funds, or all three to the American Red Cross. I'd also like to share highlights of what is written in our commendation that we're going to be presenting you in just a few minutes. The commendation reads, "On the battlefields of the Civil War, Clara Barton risked her life to aid the wounded, raise spirits, and deliver dearly needed medical supplies, and in 1881 founded the American Red Cross to carry on her legacy of compassion. Since World War II, March has been designated as National Red Cross Month by each President of the United States. March is a special time to recognize and thank the heroes who volunteer, donate blood, take life savings courses, or provide financial donations to support an organization whose mission is to help those in need. The American Red Cross of Northern New Jersey, located in Fairfield, serves a population of 3 million people in Bergen, Essex, Hudson, Passaic, and Sussex counties. It works tirelessly through employees and volunteers to help with disaster strikes and provides 24-hour support to members of the military, veterans, and their families, and provides training in CPR, aquatics, and first aid. They respond to nearly 70,000 disasters a year and provide some 400,000 services to military members, veterans, and civilians. They also collect and distribute about 40% of the nation's blood supply and train more than 7 million people in first aid and other life-saving skills every year. I had the pleasure last year of going up to the facility in Fairfield and taking a tour. I thought it was an excellent, excellent facility to have here in Essex County, run by great people. And not only do they take care of individuals who are in need, they also have courses and classes for students, which I was happy to participate in at the time when I arrived. At this time, before I call you up, Ms. Gilman, I also want to recognize those attending with you. Ms. Emma Justice and Ron Durrell. For your services, I also thank you. I would like to give my colleague, Freeholder Brendan Gill, and our elected official colleague, Essex County Clerk Chris Durkin, a chance to also come up to the microphone before we call you up and present you with your accommodations. So at this time, Brendan and Chris, would you like to join me up at the microphone?
You have two politicians fighting over a microphone. Exactly. Highly unusual. First of all, foremost, thank you, Freeholder Luciano, and thank you to County Clerk Chris Durkin for allowing me to be a part of this recognition. You know, it's I represent the 5th Freeholder District, which includes the townships of Montclair, Glen Ridge, Belleville, Bloomfield, and Nutley. And born and raised in the township of Montclair, the now Montclair, Glen Ridge, Nutley chapter has been prominent not only in my own life, but in the communities that I represent. And if it's a very small part that I can say thank you to everything that you do as an organization in those communities and in the state at large, not only for everything that Freeholder Luciano just listed in terms of the services that you provide, but also one important service, which I don't think is highlighted enough, is the preparedness, not just the reaction to when disaster strikes. I know most recently we had an incident in Ewing where the Red Cross was on the scene of an unfortunate natural gas explosion, but it made me to take pause to think about not only when you're responding, but also what you're doing before that response actually happens. So congratulations. Please know that you can count on my support as long as I hold public office to help further that mission. And you know, God bless you in the work that you do. Thank you. County Clerk Chris Durkin. Chris.
Thank you. As Brendan said, my name is Chris Durkin. I'm fortunate to be the Essex County Clerk, and it's an honor to be here standing in support of the Red Cross and Jocelyn Gilman and all the work you do. And I've been fortunate to be a board member, which maybe one day I'll come back, I hope, if I'm welcome. I have two brief stories about the necessity of the Red Cross as far as I'm concerned, because the Red Cross is there for our neighbors physically and emotionally. One, it happened on September 11th, on that really disaster of a day where I was a detective in the sheriff's office, and we were dispatched to Hoboken, and the Red Cross, we met the Red Cross there, we're setting up triage, and they didn't know what to expect, what was going to disembark from the ferries, and we interacted with the Red Cross, and at night, when the people were coming off the ferry, I had the unusual situation of taking my future wife off the ferry and my future sister-in-law. And on that night, they were there, the Red Cross was there for all of the people coming off those ferries, not physically, but emotionally. And it meant so much to everyone there. And the second brief story is, as the county clerk, we deal with elections in Essex County and printing all the ballots. And in 2008, with the presidential ballot, we had a group of blind people who needed ballots in Braille. And the Red Cross provides that service. And it was pretty close to the election, and the blind community wanted to be prepared. Like everyone else, everyone gets a sample ballot in the mail a week before the election so that they're prepared. They can read not only who the candidates are, but the ballot questions, and become prepared and familiarize themselves with the election. And the blind thought that they should be, have that ability to do so. And the Red Cross, in short order, came up with ballots in Braille, and I really want to thank them for that. So, I stand with you yesterday, I stand with you today, and I'll stand with you tomorrow too. Thank you.
Thank you to the county clerk. He was very instrumental and supportive in getting this resolution off the ground. So I want to thank you for bringing that to my attention. I also want to make note that our Freeholder Vice President, Patricia Siebold, has joined us. Freeholder Vice President, Patricia Siebold. And at this time, I would like you, Ms. Gilman, and your colleagues to come join us on the podium. The Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders hereby proclaims March 2014 as American Red Cross Month, and we encourage all Americans to support this organization and its noble humanitarian mission. So again, I am pleased to congratulate you and wish you and the Northern New Jersey American Red Cross continued success. Please know that we expect you to call on us if it's ever needed. So at this time, I'd like to turn the microphone over to any of you who would like to say a few words and also present you with that commendation resolution.
Well, thank you, Freeholders, County Clerk, and everybody who has truly honours the organisation that we have as the Red Cross. March, as you said, was originally proclaimed in just after World War II by President Truman to be Red Cross Month. And every year there is a different theme. And this year is for our everyday heroes. And a fact that perhaps not a lot of people know about the Red Cross is that we're nearly 94% volunteer driven. So our everyday heroes are our volunteers. So our volunteers who get out in the middle of the night, if there is a fire, which out of the 70,000 plus disasters that we tend to during the year, fires unfortunately are one of the major disasters that we have to help individuals and victims. And bear in mind that is a possible preventable disaster. So again, as you rightly said, in preparing and preparedness and really educating ourselves and how we can really help and prevent house fires. Our other heroes, we provide nearly 50% of the nation's blood supply. Again, those that help run our blood drives and donate blood truly make a huge difference. Every single pint saves 3 lives. That how many lives we save every minute, every 2 seconds, somebody needs a blood transfusion. So it truly is quite amazing, again, our everyday heroes. People that take courses, CPR courses, babysitting courses, lifeguard courses, that's so important. I was really lucky the last 3 weeks to meet 2 young, a boy and a girl from high schools, one in Oradell and another in, I'm trying to think which town now, in next door to Oradell. I can't think of the town, I'm sorry. But they had just taken CPR classes and their teachers choked. One teacher choked and the boy actually immediately ran up to her and saved her life. 30 years earlier, she had taken a CPR course and the next day her daughter was choking and she too saved her daughter's life. The other young lady was actually working in a gym as a part-time job, and a gentleman of 77 got on one of the machines and collapsed, and she too performed CPR. And he is doing great and back at the gym. So again, preparedness and having that knowledge is so important. And with our community programs, like you're saying with Braille, and you may wonder why we do Braille, that goes back to our military roots. When soldiers came home in World War I blinded by mustard gas, the American Red Cross stepped up and had a number of Braille volunteer centres throughout the country to produce Braille books. And we now actually produce Braille for kindergarten through high school children here in New Jersey. Any books that they need, we will provide them in partnership with the New Jersey Commission for the Blind. So we have many, many heroes, and I have two of them with me today, but truly it's an incredible organisation. And also the people that donate to us is amazing. It's just amazing, and I want to say thank you. And again, thank you for honouring us.
You're welcome, and of course, we expect you to continue doing the work that you are, and we hope to, of course, see you again here in March 2015. At this time, Freeholders, would you like to join us?
Photos.
To the public and to the students of Millburn, welcome to our meeting. I am Essex County Freeholder Leonard Luciano, and I am the District 4 Freeholder, one of 9 freeholders. We have 4 that are at large that represent all 22 municipalities. And then we have 5 freeholders that have the county broken up into districts. I have the pleasure of serving District 4, which represents the town of Millburn, where you guys are from. And I am joined tonight with Freeholder Vice President Patricia Siebold, Freeholder colleague from District 5, Brendan Gill, and the Clerk of the Freeholder Board, Deborah Davis Ford. And I also see our Deputy Clerk, Debbie Marlowe. Thank you for coming down here. As a freeholder, recognizing people who are doing great things is one of the tasks that I enjoy most about this position. As a teacher myself, when I see young people achieving great things, I believe it is my duty to boast their kudos and accolades. I'm sure Freeholder Siebold, who is also a retired school teacher, echoes the same sentiments. With that being said, I heard about the success, actually I read about it in the newspaper, of the Millburn High School students, and I'm happy to honor each of you, as well as your musical director, Mr. Leahy, and the music teachers who have joined us tonight. For the benefit of the viewing audience, this evening we are honoring Millburn High School students who have been accepted as members of the New Jersey State Ensemble. They have achieved the coveted and limited seats, I might add, to the orchestra, band, jazz, wind, and chorus ensembles. I'd like to ask the teachers who are here to join us up at the podium. That would be Miss Mindy Shireman, Director of Band, and Rodrigo Vega, the choral director. Would you mind joining us up at the microphone? Like I was saying, it warms my heart and encourages my spirit to see students who actually get it. And by get it, I mean students who realize their potential and, more importantly, hone into the hype of practice makes perfect. The results have come to fruition by your accomplishment to your individual ensemble. And a few of you are in more than one ensemble, which is twice as impressive. Through hard work, you are the few out of hundreds who competed for the seats that you hold. I think that you deserve a round of applause at this time. I am sure that there have been many times, and the students, I know that you're all sitting there, that you would rather watch TV, play a video game, play a game outside, or just hang out with your friends. But clearly, you chose something different. You chose to practice. You may have been coaxed by your teachers and parents, but at the end, the result of the accomplishment that you achieved is that you put in the work. And I, along with the rest of the Essex County Freeholders, are proud of you for doing such a great accomplishment. I hope you know that this accomplishment, you may not even realize how many other students you are inspiring, both at Milburn and across the state, to pick up an instrument and to develop the talent or interest that you have. Before I call up my colleague, Freeholder Vice President Siebold, who's going to join me at the Freeholder Board, I want to introduce one other person who is the attorney for the Essex County Freeholders and is our counsel, who lives in Milburn, Michael Parlavecchio. Thank you for joining us, Michael. And at this time, I'm going to turn the microphone over to my colleague.
Thank you so much, Freeholder Luciano. And yes, you are correct. It gives me great pleasure to share this honor. As he already stated, I'm a retired teacher, and I taught at West Orange High School for over 30 years, and education is still very close to my heart. I'm going to ad-lib here for a minute. My husband's father was a musician. He was a percussionist. He taught music in Newark for many, many years, and he played with the New Jersey Symphony. So I have attended concerts for the New Jersey Symphony for years, and I currently go to NJPAC for a classical music series. Music is very important to me. Not just teaching English as I did, but music also. I'm happy to share some highlights from the commendation. The Milburn High School Music Department will receive a large copy, and each student will receive a miniature version of the original as a keepsake and reminder to encourage each of you to continue in your discipline. And the commendation includes the New Jersey All-State Ensembles are sponsored by the New Jersey Music Educators Association, whose mission is to promote the advancement of music instruction in New Jersey's educational institutions at all levels that provide in-service and enrichment opportunities. Selection for the All-State Ensembles begins with the students' initial acceptance into the North Jersey Region 1 Ensemble for their particular discipline. Students then compete for acceptance into the All-State Ensembles. Students selected into these programs are considered to be among the best high school musicians in the state. Hundreds of student musicians representing dozens of schools throughout the state audition each year for these prestigious ensembles, with only those receiving the highest scores gaining membership. The All-State Ensembles have opportunities to perform at several venues throughout the state, including the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, again, in Newark, Broadway Hall in Atlantic City during the annual NJEA convention, and Symphony Hall in Newark, to name a few. The Milburn High School Music Department is led by John Leahy, Director of Music, and supported by Karen Conrad, Orchestra Director, Rodrigo Vega, Choral Director, Mindy Shearerman, Director of Bands, and Matthew Spates, Associate Director of Bands. The Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders hereby congratulates and commends Milburn High School, its music department, and the students selected into the New Jersey All-State Ensembles for bringing great honor to themselves, their school, their parents, and of course to Essex County. The commendation lists each student who was selected for the All-States, but I'd like to ask Mindy Shearerman, Director of Bands, and Rodrigo Vega, Choral Director, to introduce the students. Let us know their ensemble discipline, and please have a few words. And if any student would like to speak, we would love to hear from you as well. Thank you again, congratulations, and much success on the upcoming concerts and performances.
I'm Rodrigo Vega, I'm the choral director, and I want to invite up the choral students that were involved in All-State. And can I begin with Ify Lee, if you can come in, come down. She made it as an alto 2. We have Carly Maitland. It's a soprano 2. Then we have Ariel Casnetz. It's a soprano 1. And we also have Lily Jacobs. As an alto 1.
On behalf of Mrs. Conrad, I'd like to announce our orchestra members. We have Connor O'Hale on string bass. Chris Lee on violin. Nate Kim. Where's Nate? Violin, right? We have Austin Gia. And now we have some crossovers between the orchestra, jazz, and band. So our first student we have as a crossover would be Alex Broad on clarinet for orchestra and band. We have Matthew Wolf on tuba, orchestra and band. Elise Quo, oboe, English horn for orchestra and band. And Elam Kim on piano for orchestra and band. Accepted to the New Jersey All-State Band would be Maurice Wong on bass and contrabass clarinet. And one more student who was accepted to the All-State Bands and Jazz Ensemble, Louis Danowski on saxophones.
These young students behind me have obviously dedicated their lives to what they love. But we also know the commitment it takes from their teachers, their parents, and everyone else who has supported them. On behalf of the Board of Chosen Freeholders, I congratulate them on their achievement. For the underclassmen that are here, we hope to see you back here next year. And for any upperclassmen that may be moving on, we hope that you continue with what it is that you have succeeded with, whether it's on the collegiate level, semi-professional or professional level, or even if you just continue as a hobby. You know, when it comes to fine arts, it's one of the things that I'm very passionate about, and we need to make sure that it continues here in Essex County and our communities. So again, a round of applause to all those that are being honored here tonight. And then if any of the members here of the All-State Ensembles would like to say a few words for themselves or for their colleagues on the band or orchestra or chorus, please be our guest.
We feel it's important to mention there are 3 students that couldn't be with us this evening for various reasons. We have Grant Gardner, a member of the orchestra, William Shu, who's a member of the band on clarinet, and Ambika Shital on vocal part. So we want to recognize them, and we'll bring this back to school on their behalf. Thank you very much.
Just very quickly, I want to reiterate how proud we are of the students that we have. We are very lucky to work with you on a regular basis, and we couldn't have wished for better students. So thank you very much.
Are there any students that would like the microphone? Anyone at all? Any volunteers? You don't have to.
with our presentations, I would like to also thank Gary Kresick and Kathy Brown for putting in all this work for the presentations, calling all the people, preparing the remarks, and so forth, and also to our staff, who is always here working so hard. My name is Patricia Siebold, and I am the Freeholder Vice President. I'm making a presentation tonight to a very good friend of mine, Melanie Gorelick. It's a special commendation because Melanie Gorelick is a good friend of mine. And I've known her for so many years. And she's here tonight in a dual capacity as Director of the Community Relations Committee of Greater Metro West New Jersey and a facilitator of the New Jersey Coalition Against Human Trafficking. Just to make a comment about the Community Relations Committee, I happen to be a member of the CRC and chair of a committee which deals with training women in political work. And so I work with Melanie so often, and she is a terrific person. I know she's also accompanied by some others here tonight, and they've been working with her on this issue, and she will have a chance to introduce them. So before we get started, I'm going to ask Melanie to join me up here, and if you'd like to bring someone with you, please do. I'm going to ad-lib just a little bit here because I have something that I want to read that recognizes Melanie Gorelick for something she achieved recently. The Community Relations Committee of the Jewish Federation of Greater Metro West New Jersey was recognized for its leadership of the New Jersey Coalition Against Human Trafficking by the Jewish Council for Public Affairs. The Program Excellence Award was presented to CRC Director Melanie Roth Gorelick at the JCPA Plenum, the annual policy gathering of Jewish community relations professionals from around the country, held March 8th through 11th in Atlanta. The coalition, established in 2011 by the CRC, is made up of about 100 groups, including faith-based, ethnic, and community organizations, government agencies, law enforcement, and direct service providers whose mission is to eradicate human trafficking through education, advocacy, and assistance to survivors. Gorelick, who also conducted 2 workshops on the topic at the plenum, we are on our way to creating an abolitionist movement in the United States against human trafficking, a horrific crime. And of course, here is her picture, and I had to ad-lib and show that before I continue because I was so impressed by this. Tonight, we want to bring attention to a terrible, terrible problem that plagues civilized society everywhere in the world, and that is the scourge of human trafficking. Human trafficking is modern-day slavery. It imprisons and exploits people, too often women and children, for sexual activity or to provide labor or services for the economic benefits of others. It's demeaning, it's criminal, it's exploitative, it deprives children of their futures, and it's evil. It should not be permitted to exist in the 21st century, and it is incumbent upon us to do whatever we can to bring this to an end. And that brings me back to the purpose of tonight's presentation, to present Melanie with this Freeholder Board resolution proclaiming January 11th, 2014 as Human Trafficking Awareness Day in Essex County, in recognition of her hard work, her hard and compassionate work, as well as her colleagues at Metro West and the New Jersey Coalition Against Human Trafficking to stamp out this despicable activity. Sadly, and as was widely predicted, we were all reminded of this terrible problem in the lead up to the Super Bowl, when 16 juveniles were rescued and more than 45 pimps were arrested in a horrifying scheme to prostitute women and children right here in New Jersey. We are so glad that those victims were saved, and who knows how many others weren't. And that's something that should make it hard for us to sleep peacefully at night, knowing the horrors those unknown victims are suffering. And so, with all of that said, I am really pleased to be able to present this resolution to Melanie and to thank her for all her hard work and to give her an opportunity to tell us all about her work.
It's not my work alone. This is a collaborative effort of everyone on our coalition. And here today with me are coalition members and leaders, including Patricia DeMine Harms from the Junior League, and Stephen DeLuca from ECPAT USA and the New York Coalition Against Human Trafficking, students from St. Elizabeth, and from U.S. Customs, and you'll hear from a few of us today. Patricia, I want to thank you so much for this. It means a lot to us.
My pleasure.
And thank you for all those kind words. Patricia was reading an article that was just printed in the New Jersey Jewish News. I appreciate it. As Patricia said, the New Jersey Coalition Against Human Trafficking aim is to create an abolitionist movement in New Jersey to stamp out human trafficking. The purpose of the coalition is not only in New Jersey, but around the United States and around the world. This growing problem in the United States is second growing criminal industry, second only to drug dealing and to scopes of arms dealing. And it's one that we believe that if people, individuals around the country take action and raise awareness about, that we can actually end. Human trafficking is defined as forced fraud and or coercion for the purpose of sexual exploitation or forced labor. Contrary to popular belief, under federal and state law, human trafficking does not require movement of people across borders. The U.S. Department estimates that 600,000 to 800,000 people are trafficked in the United States annually. This is something that all of us need to join forces and work collaboratively to end. This cannot be allowed right here in modern day, to have modern day slavery. The coalition got established in 2011 by a small group of people who were learning about who were working against human trafficking independently, who came together to realize if we worked together, we could be a force. And together we've grown from being 5 to 20 to now over 100 organizations representing almost every faith-based, ethnic group, college, educational program, government departments in New Jersey. And we're really proud not only of the accomplishments that we've had so far, but also how well we work together. And we believe that as we all join hands and we all work with our hearts, that we can make a difference for anyone who's isolated, living in slavery and in violence. Leading up to the Super Bowl and what we've done so far is we helped to ensure the passage of legislation. New Jersey, that was passed a year ago, May 6th in New Jersey. New Jersey is now considered to have the strongest enforcement legislation in the country, and we hope to see it fully implemented this year. We're very proud of our state and our state legislators. And we've also requested and wonderfully are receiving proclamations such as this one. We have 70 proclamations around the state. We believe by engaging freeholders such as Patricia Siebold and others in the fight against human trafficking at the local level will be the only way to stop this crime. So again, Patricia, I want to thank you so, so much. This means a great deal to us. Essex County is important to us, and we look forward to your partnership on fighting this. So thank you. Does anyone else want to say anything? Patricia?
I want to echo my appreciation and also echo the impact that ordinary citizens can make. Right in Essex County, there was a labor trafficking ring running from 2002 to 2007. There were approximately 20 victims, some as young as 10 years old. And they were rescued because someone in the community said, I have noticed something, I'm not sure I can put a name to it, but something is not right. And they called the tip line, whether they called the state hotline or the national hotline, which is 888-3737, 888. The most important thing is they called a hotline, and these girls and women were rescued, and they are well on their way toward leading healthy, productive lives. So thank you.
Patricia is with the Junior League of the State Public Affairs of Junior Leagues, and she was very instrumental in helping to get the legislation written, and she chairs our legislative affairs. Stephen, would you like to say something?
Again, thank you for having us, and thank you for the proclamation and well-deserved commendation for you. Congratulations. I'm speaking on behalf of ECPAT, which is End Child Prostitution and Trafficking. ECPAT USA is based in Brooklyn, New York, but they are in 70 countries worldwide, and I'm proud to be on their board of advisors. They are too an active member of this coalition, and I'm glad that we're able to help with bringing forward certain things in the legislation that are meant to protect children. And why is this important? Because most girls who enter into prostitution are between the ages of 12 and 15 years old. We don't have really great stats on it. It's very underreported. But that is about what we're seeing. Girls who are as young as 12, sometimes even younger. That's just the average age. There are some girls even younger than that. So we know that most girls who are in the life today didn't have a choice and were not old enough to even consent to this kind of exploitation. So when someone says, well, it's their choice to continue doing this, that's false. That's a myth. Most people are brought into this against their will and when they're too young to even decide that. What ECPAT in particular has been doing, and we've worked with the coalition and others on this, we had some training that was focused on making sure that hotel operators who wanted to renew their licenses had to go through training on how to identify victims and how to help them. That was necessary, that was a requirement where we did that in a few places here in Jersey City. We also have a code of conduct for hotel operators in the tourism industry to sign, and we have a lot of the major national and international chains who have signed on, and we're working further on that. We're also working on safe harbor laws. Unfortunately, only a handful of the states have strong safe harbor laws to protect children and to treat them as victims rather than as criminals, and we're working very hard on doing that, on strengthening the laws to give them better help with that, and also to be able to expunge their records when they were able to get out of the life so they can have a normal life afterwards. Thank you very much for your support.
With U.S. Customs and Border Protection out of the Port of New York, Newark, I would just like to thank the coalition for including law enforcement in their meetings. It's an excellent networking opportunity for us, not only to meet nonprofit organizations, but also to interact with fellow law enforcement members. And I've only recently been involved, but the few meetings I've been to, it really is impressive, the passion they have for this cause. And bringing in all these various parties involved really says something, and it just keeps building on itself, and it's only going to get better. So thank you very much to the coalition.
The last two things I want to say is, one is we have a website to be a portal on human trafficking. It's www.njhumantrafficking.org. That's www.njhumantrafficking.org. If people want to get involved, please find us through the website and join the abolitionist movement. And I just want to also thank the Jewish Federation of Greater Metro West for allowing, and through pro bono means and kindness, allowing us to run the coalition out of our offices.
Thank you so much, Melanie, and thank you so much for bringing all these wonderful people with you whom you are working with. Through your hard work and your commitment, I know that society will be a better place to live. So thank you so much for all that you do.